This year's speakers are some of the best slate that I've seen.
Question to all of you. Where have we seen this gentleman before, Dr. Edward Teller?
I want to just give you two other very brief examples.
The world financial system is a total fraud.
The masses of people in the world are not ready for the whole story, which is why there is not going to be a press conference by Obama anytime soon.
The 20th anniversary of the International UFO Congress in Fountain Hills, Arizona turned out to be a great success, and the move from Laughlin to Phoenix proved to be the right decision.
It all started out with trying to come up with the venue, organizing that with hotel staff getting a great location.
With some 25 presentations from some of the top speakers in ufology, the audience walked away informed and inspired.
There was a sense on the part of the people that there were things being said in the presentation that may have been misconstrued.
One of the highlights of the conference was a debate with Stanton Friedman and Dr. John Alexander, moderated by Daniel Sheehan.
But what's your best judgment? The thing that everyone tries to avoid in government work.
Well, it's not the government. The problem here is humans, and here's where Jacques Vallée and I are very close.
Some felt that Daniel was not an unbiased moderator, but took over the debate to argue against Alexander himself.
And we get to talk to everybody. And actually, the head of the archive said to me, that isn't true, because if it were, I'd know it. Isn't that really your position?
No.
Is it the reason you don't believe it is because...
We've got several different discussions going.
Just my question, just that what is, given the fact that there are these totally hidden operations that are going on.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
You found it.
I was trying to get the debate moving toward what should we do about this, okay? But of course, Colonel Alexander pushed back. He wouldn't, he wanted to do what he normally does, is, be there to advertise his position.
By the time I came out the back door and was walking up there were people lining up to say, boy, that was unfair, and the toughest word was he did himself discredit because it was so obviously, pejorative.
Mr. Friedman, do you understand that to be an adequate response to the actual data that you're familiar with? Or do you think that a reasonable and objective person would come to further conclusions?
This wasn't a debate. It was an interrogation by a defense attorney, I guess.
Open Mind's own Michael Schratt was one of the most talked about presentations with his review of Project Aquarius.
Everything that took place in this facility was recorded on digital videotape. So they have the evidence, there's no question about it.
The Honorable Paul Hellyer, former Minister of Defense for Canada, also received good reviews, even though his presentation focused more on the world economy and the banking institutions, which he feels has undue influence over politics.
The aim of the game is to rob the people of the world of their sovereign right to govern their own affairs.
And Stan Romanek still seems to bring a lot of attention for his story about his experiences.
Off in the distance, this object started coming back toward me. And I thought it was going to come at me, and I was really scared. And I noticed it wasn't coming at me, it was actually hovering above my apartment complex.
There was a touching speech by Robert Dean when accepting the Lifetime Achievement Award for Wendell Stevens, who passed away last July.
As members of APRO, we were both on the board of directors of APRO. I learned to love.
Host Alejandro Rojas commented on the success and what to look for next year.
Since it was our first year doing this, I think a lot of people were concerned as to whether or not we could pull off the Congress and keep it as good as it's been, including us. In fact, we were braced for having maybe a few less people than they've typically had, but luckily we had an incredible turnout. In fact, I think this was the biggest Congress ever, and we've gotten a lot of great feedback ever since then. So really we've been able to learn a lot, and people are saying, are you going to be able to keep this up and pull this off again next year? And really we're very confident that next year is going to be better than ever.
Individual speaker DVDs can be purchased for $15, or you can get the entire 25-disc set for just $299. Go to openminds.tv and click shop.
Congress.